but no, it slowly came towards us. So they screamed out to me, and I went down. I told it to stop quite a few times. It did not. So I fired 2 .40 caliber rounds right at the center of the light, and it turned around and slowly drifted back into the woods and disappeared.
Well, in all fairness to them, I understand why you did. In all fairness to them, they probably didn't understand what you said.
They probably didn't, and that's what I thought about. And I never put 2 and 2 together. I had no idea what it was until I talked to Eric, and he told me what it was, and it made perfect sense.
What was it, Eric?
I know first-hand knowledge that our weapons won't have anything to do.
Eric, what was it?
That would be a Keith answer.
You did say an 8 foot in diameter, right?
No.
8 foot in the air.
About 8 feet,
about
8 feet in the air.
How big was it? Do you remember how big the orb was?
It was, let's say, the size of about a volleyball.
Oh, okay. You're dealing with geckos. They're a reptilian race, about 6 inches tall. They literally look like a gecko. Now, that being said, the bullets wouldn't even bother penetrating their hull. That's actually a ship you were looking at. They weren't there for abduction, by the way.
Say that again.
A little hard for a 60. I said they weren't there to try and take the kids. They were curious.
Right.
Understood. That was my first reaction was like, when they didn't stop, when I said stop, it proved to me right there that rounds do not penetrate their armor.
But why couldn't that have been a drone from a UFO?
It could have been. It just, quite frankly, in my experience, probably wasn't. If it were a drone, it wouldn't have stopped.
Right. And that was my answer. That was my answer to Steve. Is that was alien. It definitely wasn't Bigfoot. It wasn't anything else, and it wasn't government, because the government would have kept on going.
But if it's an alien drone, maybe it has senses. Maybe it has intelligence. Maybe it has some being where, it recognized you fired upon it, and that's why it withdrew.
Curiosity, you do realize a drone, by definition, means it's got no intelligence.
Well, okay.
That's a robot.
Okay,
that's a remote control.
Okay, well, let's talk about a non-remote control. Something from an alien ship that maybe does have intelligence, okay, and it was checking them out. It's simple as that.
That's why I said the geckos. In other words, it was a manned ship. Could it technically have been a drone? Certainly.
It made no sound, and it blinked about every 3 seconds. Bright white light.
Yeah.
Now, can I ask a question there? Dave, do you have in Canada, are you getting these type of reports?
I have not heard of any like that, and usually when that kind of weird and strange stuff happens, I go to Keith, because he's just peak woo enough for me to believe it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you got to realize, there is so much out there that we don't know. I mean, I have seen orbs. I haven't seen, what Steve has seen in the forest, and Steve, I could just imagine what I would be like with my children around and having that happen. I think you did the right thing in doing what you did there, but in regards to the entire experience and trying to figure out what is truly up with it, God, that's hard to say. I mean, I've never heard of Keith talk about the geckoids before out of the probably 70 or 80 conversations we've had on Space Town Radio over the years. But I mean, it happens, and it's all in how we deal with it. But and Steve, I'm not, please, when I say this, I'm not trying to put you down, but for a lot of people out there, they would have Steve's reaction, and that is, if you're armed and prepared to protect yourself, which I highly suggest for anybody going in the forest, because you don't know what is around animal-wise. Like, for instance, where I live, where I live, I mean, we have grizzly bears, we have black bears, we have cougars, we have moose, we have...
We never shoot a grizzly bear with a 45. He'll just get annoyed.
No, but the whole point that I'm getting at is you have to go into the forest with protection and know what the possibilities are. You're not preparing for something like an orb that flies within 8 feet of you and trying to figure out what to do with it. And especially if you're a first-time experiencer like Steve is, I mean, I think Steve did the exact same thing.
He did the only rational thing possible.
Exactly.
See, to be clear, though, Dave, when you and I first started talking, we're going back, 3 years now?
Oh, goodness.
We got into a discussion about the various different reptilian races that were out there. But we don't talk about the geckoids very much because they're not involved in abductions. Let's face it, they're only 6 inches tall.
So what are the geckoids doing here? What is their main function?
Oh, that's the easy part. Socioeconomic exploration and flora and fauna research.
Okay. And that would explain why they'd be in the Cascades.
Yeah, because, I mean, let's face it, you've got a wide variety of different things up there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Many different reptilian races besides the geckoids as well.
After the research and talking with gentlemen like yourselves, I don't think I would react the same way, but I think I kind of make the point that I think as a society right now, even if they were peaceful and they came down here, the first thing, you guys are right, we would shoot because, I mean, firsthand experience, I shot. So, yeah, definitely right about the violence part.
No,
my guess is you don't usually shoot at people you don't know exactly who they are.
And I would have to say, though, I have to add to that, Steve, because if you were by yourself, you probably wouldn't have shot. You would have checked it out. But because they were going towards your kids, that is the whole, that changes the whole perspective.
That was the number one reason, was because of the kids. If the kids hadn't been there, you're darn right, I would have wanted to find out what that was.
Right.
You might have ended up pulling a Travis Walton. Getting way too close and run into your own problems.
Well, because we as humans are curious by nature as well.
That they are.
But our curiosity takes a back seat when our children are threatened, or what we perceive as being threatened, whether they're actually threatened or not. If there's a perception of a threat, then you're going to react.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But without dependence, we like to use the pointy stick.
Exactly. And I wish Joe was here. Where's Joe? See, That's the thing. We go to EMP, we go to the pointy stick, because you're not gonna have bullets forever, but you're gonna have a pointy stick forever.
Yeah. Pointy stick in the club, can't beat them.
Exactly.
Well, you can beat them with the club.
Well, that too.
Well, technically, you can beat them with the pointy stick too. It's just not as effective.
The geckoids, we could just rip their tails off. It'll take them a while to grow back.
Bad news. They don't have them.
Damn it.
So, Cole.
Yes.
What is your next question?
Well, I've just started watching the X-Files for the first time.
Uh-huh.
Well, you're a little behind schedule.
Right, well,
Better late than never.
TV doesn't come to Canada. Like, we're finally getting 90s shows. So Friends just started, though. But I'm very curious as to who fed these cases to, what's his name, Chris Carter.
Chris Carter?
Yeah.
I don't know who fed him, but I do know he didn't know.
Yeah, as the FBI.
How far?
How far? Up
Yeah.
to about his armpits.
That bad, eh?
Or that good, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah, I guess if you're him, it's pretty good right now, because, he's still making money.
Like he is one of three producers that actually knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
One of three in the States. There's a fourth one over in Europe, and I forget what his name is. But Carter does know what he's talking about.
You know what? The other one. Well, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think Stranger Things is really interesting too, because when you look at the Upside Down, it's very similar to Other Dimensions.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the creatures
Stranger
that are in
Things
there.
is well done. I don't know who the producer is for that one.
Saffer Brothers.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And I can't wait for season 3 to come out in May. I think it is.
Oh, is that when it comes out? Yeah, I've already watched the rest of it.
Yeah.
I do know that Spielberg and Lucas both know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Look at Close Encounters of a Third Kind, for example.
Yeah. That is the best rendition, bar none, of the Greys that I've ever seen.
Now, I've got a question for you. Batteries not included. Have you ever seen that one?
Oh, real? Yeah.
So which
that
race
race
is that?
exists.
What race is it? And are they robotic?
And they are. Remember I mentioned quite some time back we were talking about a race called the Mechanoids? They're not as cuddly and fuzzy as the batteries not included would have you believe.
Okay.
If those guys, and it's that race that caused the Techlex to head this direction. And for the new listeners, the Techlex are the 3.5 to 4.5 foot raptor-like reptilians.
Damn them.
Yeah, they came because they were looking for resources to protect their own planet.
And what's I love the episode we did on crop circles a while back, because we brought up some cool points about crop circles being markers for where resources on this planet might be.
Yeah. Or landmarks for a new direct, I was showing one that was literally a jump point.
Mm-hmm. So, I've got a question. What are the pyramids for?
The pyramids are quite literally power generators. They were originally designed to pull up quantum energy and broadcast it.
So they're signal beacons, basically.
But can I say something?
No, not. I mean, they can be used as a signal beacon, but they literally, it's more like a way station, if you will.
Can I say something?
Because they tap straight into the magnetic field of the planet, and then pump it on a direct line into orbit.
Okay.
Now,
what are you going to add, Gary?
Okay. Well, I just recently, this past week, had Stephen Myers on, and he has an idea, and he has videos out that, like the Great Pyramid and all that stuff, was not, to do whatever it is to the cosmos or whatever. His feeling is that it was created as a major, like, water pump to pump water, to supply water for irrigation. And just for from the way the chambers are made and everything else. And he really has a good video on it, actually 2 videos on it, and a lot of documentation. And if you really watch it and read his book about it, it makes you kind of sway your mind that the way the pyramids, the chambers were made, and all that stuff, it does make sense. It could have been to use it for pumping water.
But can I ask a question? And it may be stupid, and I don't mean it to be, but I'm actually wondering, aren't the pyramids in a desert? Or is that why?
Yeah.
It's in the desert, but at that time when they were there was the they built like canals.
They used to call it the Sahara Forest.
They had canals going up to the pyramids, and actually even shows, he even has how they actually built the pyramids, how the technology, how they actually barged the big blocks up to the site to build it. and it's rather intriguing.